When my parents got married, my dad's family gifted my mom with some expensive jewelry that had been in the family for decades. This included a set of sapphire earrings, which she wore on her wedding day. Their marriage ended after 2 years when my mom discovered my father had a 3-year-old daughter, Lily, with another woman. My parents had been dating for 7+ years before they finally tied the knot, for context. My father insisted my mom keep the jewelry, but she ended up returning it to my grandma. My mom found out she was pregnant with me during the divorce, but she wouldn't give him a second chance. My dad has been an active role in both mine and Lily's life, but he has always intentionally pit us against one another. Her mother has also fueled this feud between us. Lily has also had a bad relationship with our extended family due to lies her mother would tell her about them growing up. We've both seen these sapphire earrings before when visiting my grandma, but neither of us ever tried to make a claim for them. When I was 16, my grandma gave me all the jewelry she had previously gifted to my mother, including the earrings. She said she still loved my mother like her daughter and wished she had kept them. And since it would have all passed to me one day anyway, she wanted me to have it all. Note, my mom returned it before she found out she was pregnant. As far as I know, Lily and my dad didn't know about this. Fast forward, and Lily, now 27, is getting married. My grandma has since passed away. She asked my aunt, who inherited the remainder of the jewelry, if she could borrow the earrings. My aunt was confused and said there were no such earrings. Lily kept insisting she had seen them, and eventually my dad showed my aunt a wedding picture of my mom to point out the earrings. My aunt is one of the few other people that knew Grandma gave me them, so she informed them of this. Lily called me up and demanded I return the earrings to my aunt since they were legally hers. I refused. I later called my aunt to ask if she wanted the jewelry back, and she laughed and said it was mine, and that Lily was being a spoiled brat as always, and we shouldn't enable her. The next few days, Lily started to beg me to borrow the earrings, but from her past behavior, I know if I allow her to, I will never get them back. I'm planning to use them for my own wedding one day. My dad eventually called me to demand I give them to her. He said he wanted his firstborn to have his family's jewelry, and that I wasn't entitled to it. He said my mother gave the right to his family's jewelry away when she divorced him, and he didn't want her daughter keeping any of it. I was really hurt, and I ended up blocking them both. Am I the a-hole for continuing to refuse? Grandma gave you the earrings, right? The earrings are yours, simple and plain, not the a-hole. If I were you, I'd put them away somewhere for safekeeping. Screw your dad and screw Lily. Not the a-hole. Your grandmother, the actual owner of the jewelry, gifted it to you prior to her death, and now it is legally yours. Your sister and father sound a bit terrible to be putting you in such a position, and maybe letting your father know that your grandmother gave them directly to you and not to your mother might stop his complaints. I would get a safety deposit box, put all the jewelry in there, and make certain your father has no idea or access. Not the a-hole. Your grandmother gifted the jewelry to you. She insisted that you have it, and stated that she wishes your mom had kept it despite the divorce. You are not under any obligation to share, and neither Lily nor your dad is doing anything to dispel the notion that Lily would keep the earrings if you let her borrow them. They're both behaving terribly. My 36 female, fiance, David, 34 male, name changed, and I have been together for about 6 years now. His family is very wealthy. Although I'm very successful and a high earner, my fiance works for his family's business and makes more than I do. I never want to be perceived to be a gold digger, which is why I try to keep my expenses strictly separate from his. I pay for my half of everything. If he ever gives me a gift, I make sure I get him something of equal value. David has often insisted on treating me, but I always refuse. I really don't feel comfortable letting other people pay for me. My fiance has learned to respect this. After we get married, we will split all household expenses on a 50-50 basis. Our wedding is in October. His parents insisted on paying for a grand wedding for us, but David and I convinced them that we'd rather pay for it ourselves. The other day, David's mom showed me a diamond and sapphire necklace and earring set that she had kept for David's future wife. She said she wanted me to have it, and preferably wear it on our wedding day. I felt very uncomfortable with this. I never accept any presents that I can't afford on my own. I told her I was flattered, but that I can't accept something so expensive. I told her I won't be able to give her something equally expensive in return, and I'm not okay with that. She said she didn't want anything from me, and that David's sister-in-law had also been given similar jewelry when she married his brother. I told her I understand it's their tradition, but I can't compromise on my principles. She said, okay, fine, but I could tell she was unhappy. Later on, David told me I should just have accepted the jewelry because it would make his mom happy and because I'm part of the family now. I explained to him that 1. No, I'm not really part of his family, not the way he is, and 2. Being part of the family doesn't mean that I'm going to mooch off of them. He told me I should compromise and at least wear the set on the wedding day. I refused again, as for my wedding, I would rather wear jewelry that I have bought with my own money. David said he understood and will speak to his mother. However, David's sister-in-law called me this morning and told me his mom is still upset and that I should just accept the gift and that I'm going too far with the independence thing. I have a feeling that David's mom is the one who put her up to this. I do want to know what you guys think. Are they right? Am I going too far with this? Or are they crossing the line? Am I the a-hole? Yes, the a-hole, for your scorekeeping and rigidly transactional relationship with money. It's understandable not to want to appear as a gold digger, but marriage is a partnership, and sometimes you have to pick up the slack for your partner. What would happen if you or your husband were unable to pay exactly 50% of the bills? Would you divorce? Why would you assume that you would owe your future mother-in-law for a wedding gift? It's to welcome you to their family and give you something that could be passed down to your kids. It was very hurtful to refuse a gift from your future mother-in-law. You could have worn it once and then put it in a safe deposit box. Yes, the a-hole. And this is a very unhealthy way to live life, where you are constantly going is everything 50-50. You have hurt your future mother-in-law that wanted to show you love and acceptance. Yes, the a-hole. The lady has been keeping that for her son's wife. That's you. It was a lovely gesture, meant to cement your place in the family, and you treated it like a commercial transaction. You could have at least said, "Oh, it's far too much. I would be honored to wear it at the wedding, but maybe you could just hang on to it after that. I would be terrified of losing it." I strongly suggest that you stop trying to make sure everything looks like a balanced ledger sheet at the end of the day, especially when it comes to gifts. The value of an item isn't just in its price tag. So I, 26 male, recently bought out my cousins' and siblings' shares in our ancestral family home. My family has lived here since the 1920s. It is on a lake, and my wife and I plan on using it as a vacation home and rent it out on Airbnb. The home needs a lot of work, as it hasn't been maintained. Before we bought it, we asked everyone to come and take what they wanted. This house was filled with decades of stuff. They took what they wanted, and that was the end of it. As we have begun demoing an upstairs bedroom, we found a loose floorboard after removing some carpet. Under the floorboard, we found a metal box with an old lock on it and a coffee can filled with old coins. We cut the lock and found about $2,000 in bills from the 1960s, a pocket watch, gold cufflinks, ruby earrings, a sapphire and diamond bracelet, and a pearl necklace. Based off this, we think it belonged to my great-grandparents, who died in an accident in 1963. I called my mother and told her what we found. She was shocked. My great-grandfather didn't trust banks, and he had hidden valuables all over the place. Apparently, a lot of people did this after the Great Depression. My mother thought that they had found everything. She is now asking that we hand it all over, and it is all to be sold and split between the family members. I said I would give them the cash and the antique coins, but I would like to hold on to the jewelry to pass on to my future children. My mother has said that my siblings need the money because they are both unemployed due to global situation. She considers what I found family property. Legally, I purchased everything in the house, so I think I'm covered. My mom and uncle are saying we cannot come to Christmas if we don't hand it over. So am I the a-hole for not splitting a lost family treasure? Not the a-hole. You legally own the house and all its contents. It was fully searched and what was requested was taken. It's not on you to support your siblings even after you offer to give them the cash. At least you learned a valuable lesson. Don't tell anyone anything unless you want them to use it against you. My 29 female, sister, 23 female, lost her job in March. Her husband, 24 male, is a minimum wage worker and his salary isn't enough to sustain their family of 3. They have a 2-year-old toddler and she's about 4 months pregnant right now. So back in late April, my sister wanted me to loan her some money until she found a new job. Obviously, I was sympathetic towards her condition, and after a discussion with my husband, gave her about $40K USD. Husband and I both work and earn well, so this wasn't that big of an amount for us. When I gave her that money, I told her to spend it wisely because this was all she had, and I said that I don't want it back. Yesterday, she calls me saying she's used up the $40K and needs more money. I was a bit surprised by this, because their rent is paid off by her husband's salary, and after that, even if you add up the expenses of food and other items, and no medical emergencies, there's no way in hell you'd use up $40K in 5 months. She got defensive, saying that I shouldn't inquire about how she spent the money, since I said it's her money, to which I reminded her that I also asked her to spend the money wisely, because that was all she was getting. She said that I was being unreasonable, that I should help people when I'm in the position to do so, and that they really need the money since her job search hasn't yielded any results. I told her that I did help her once, and I'm no longer willing to do that again. My husband thinks that maybe we should loan her some more money, since we can afford it, as he feels bad for our nephew and thinks that the nephew shouldn't be punished because of the wrongdoings of the mother. I think that us helping her again would only enable her, and there's no guarantee that she'd spend the money wisely, instead of just burning all of it like before. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Holy hell, your sister's entitled more than anything. Do not give her more money. All she will do is pull the same crap again a few months later and ask for more. Not the a-hole. She's obviously not using the money appropriately. Their rent is covered, and she needs more money after $40,000? She's doing something. Gambling, whatever. Whatever's going on, she's already been unreasonable. Not the a-hole. Your husband is wrong, and your sister's the a-hole to be calling you unreasonable. They'll be fine. There is no amount of money that you could give them that would be enough. Also, strike the word loan from your vocabulary when you were talking about your sister. Just admit that it would be a gift. I, 19 female, am staying with my boyfriend, 19 male, his brother, 13 male, and his mom, 45 female, during the quarantine. I was staying at uni halls and planned on staying there during lockdown. Bad relationship with parents. But boyfriend's mom called me to ask me to come stay with her to be with family. I offered to pay board, but she wouldn't accept. Boyfriend was already at hers, so I packed up my stuff and went. Normally, she doesn't have any of her children full-time. They visit every other weekend. But we decided to stay as there's room for all three of us here. Boyfriend's mom is a nurse and is working. To make life easier on her, I offered to make a chore rota for us three younger ones, which she agreed to. I cleared it with her, and I asked her to enforce it if people were slacking, and she agreed to, saying I was in charge to the boys. However, brother had a hard time with it. He didn't even know what polishing was. I wasn't asking him to do a lot. Cleaning his bedroom every day, changing his bed sheets once a week, cleaning his bathroom once a week, hoovering one floor once a week, and polishing one floor 2 out of 3 weeks, and every 3 days he would do dishes and the washing. This was the same for all three of us. I sat down and taught him how to do everything properly, and gave him slack for the first few weeks because he had never done it before. But I picked up on where he went wrong, and would casually nag him to clean up after himself if he's made a mess. I also nagged boyfriend where he fell short too. Boyfriend's mom has massively babied brother, and openly says he's her favorite, and he knows it. So during the day when he was doing chores, he managed fine, until mom came home, and he would make mistakes, fumble, take a long while, whatever, so that mom would rush over and take over. I kept quiet, but it did grate on me. Then, a couple of weeks ago, mom explodes when she comes into the kitchen and some dishes were a bit dirty. She says he's too young to be doing chores, and we should do it instead. I say nothing. She calms down. I thought that was the end of it, but no. A couple of days later, brother tells me that mom passed him a note secretly whilst we were eating dinner, that boyfriend and I cook every day for everyone, asking if I'm too busy, and he told her no, and that he likes the chore rota, and even if he does slack, he appreciates it. Then, a couple of days ago, she takes boyfriend on a walk and asks him that we all just clean up after ourselves, because it's not fair on brother to have to do chores. Boyfriend's sick of the tension, agrees, and since then, I have just been doing my own dishes, my own washing, and cleaning up after myself. The house is a pigsty. Without me pulling both boys up on what should be done, it's not. So I've decided just to let them get on with creating a mess so that she can see how clean it was when I was keeping on top of it all. Am I the a-hole for letting the house get messy to prove a point? Edited to add. This is just answering a few things I keep seeing popping up in the comments. Cleaning bedroom every day isn't like a deep clean. It's just a general tidy. Making bed, bringing dishes down, throwing away rubbish. Nothing major. Polishing is like dusting. I saw it as fair as it's only 1 floor, out of 3, and mainly focuses on the consoles and TV stuff that mainly little brother uses. Anyways, also wanted to add that there is a third sibling, 16 female, who is still staying with her dad during quarantine. The mom has never had the kids full time, and there's never been an established way to live in this house when they visit. It's always been a bit of a hotel to the kids. That's why I wanted to do a chore rota. The mom always complained when we visited on weekends that nobody helped around the house, and she is a self-professed clean freak, so her standards are very high. Edited to add too. I'm not a stranger in this house. I lived here for 6 weeks, with just the mom and my boyfriend, over Christmas, and have stayed with them for prolonged periods of time before, due to rough situation with parents. Little brother also knows me very well, and we hang out all the time, playing video games, cooking, arts and crafts, all that. Not the a-hole. That mom sounds like a crazy scary enabler. It seems like she is trying to pit her kids against you. Her behavior is a big red flag. Good luck, hon. Not the a-hole, but just move back to the dorm. It will be easier than trying to manage a household that is not your responsibility to manage, and where you have no authority. Not the a-hole. You are doing exactly what his mother wants you to. Pick up after yourself only. So continue, and then she can take it up with her sons when she gets upset. However, I would make sure she does see you cleaning up after yourself.